What? No, this has nothing to do with pigging out on waffles. What we are going to do is take an iPod 5th generation classic, replace the battery, replace the hard drive with microSD cards, and then put Rockbox on it, bringing new life to an old device. The most obvious thing you're going to need is, of course, an iPod. In this case, I have a 30 gigabyte one. These are generally the cheapest ones you can find. If you have one lying around that the hard drive's died or the battery's not holding a charge, that'll also work. You can generally find them on eBay for less than $40, and I suggest looking for them with either a bad hard drive or a battery that won't hold a charge, because they're being replaced anyways. You don't want to disassemble a functional iPod and take out parts that, you don't need. So don't pay for them. Find one that's already broken, and I would suggest trying to go for a nice cosmetic condition. Replacement batteries. I'm not convinced there's any difference between the batteries. They probably all come out of the same place in China. You can pick up a battery for maybe $5, but for $2 extra, so $7, you can get a battery and a little bag of tools that will have everything you need to pop the front off of the iPod. Next, if you're replacing the hard drive, there's a couple options. I like the adapters that allow you to use either an SD card or 2 SD cards or 4 microSD cards. These are made by iflash, and they're like $40-ish, $45. There's also cheap zip adapters that are made in China, and these will work, but you have to use a compact flash card, and that can make going with a high capacity iPod a little bit different. I want to end up with like 256 gigabytes on mine, so the compact flash cards that are that size are extremely expensive. With the micro SD cards, you can get a bunch of them in there, and it's pretty good in terms of price. So the nice thing about the adapters is that you can just take whatever SD cards you have. I have a 32 gigabyte micro SD card here, and you could put a 16 with a 32, with a 64, with an 8, and just fill up all the slots, and it will just turn it into one drive. I've decided to pick up a couple SanDisk 128 gigabyte cards to see how they work. I bought these because they were right at the price jump. If you want to move up to a 200 or a 256 gigabyte card, quite a jump in price. These are like $45 a piece. You can always just use whatever you have laying around, but I wanted to get something nice and with some quality cards that I don't have to worry about them being corrupted, because the data transfer is kind of slow. Here's everything laid out that's required. I already converted this one. I just put a 32 gigabyte card in this one, and that was not large enough for me, and I don't think it's showing up very well. But the process, very easy, pretty straightforward. To open it, I actually like the nylon straight spudgers. A little bit easier to use, but I'm going to go with this kit. So a suction cup, which can be helpful if things are glued down, and a couple of these plastic ones. You got to be careful, these are prone to break. Screwdriver, and I think that one isn't needed. So down at the bottom where there's the connector, I find that that's the easiest place to get in. Just stick the pry tool in and go around towards the side. You want to be careful. The thin little piece of metal there is really easy to damage. And we just want to get around one of the corners. So I've got it sticking in there. Just slide it in, be very gentle, and get it around the corner. Might take a few attempts. And once that is complete, you can start to grab this one and see if this one will help pry up. And there's just some clips in here that need to break free to get the back case off. And they should make a noise. There we go. And you can already see that this tool is pretty much done for. But there's now a gap. Can get in and just pry up. It comes out pretty easily. You know, some of the other iPods are really difficult to deal with. Now, there's going to be two flex, I don't know, ribbon cables or whatever. One from the battery going in and another that hooks up to the screen. So pulling it apart, just want to be very slow and careful. Kind of wiggle it and the clips on the other side will come loose. So now, I think, did I lose something out of there? I don't know. So now, I'm going to put it face down. And I don't want to hurt the screen, it's in such nice condition. Face down, and we can remove the two ribbon cables. Got it apart, just wiggle it and the back comes off. There's the two flex cables. The one down here has a little tab that needs to be lifted up to have the cable come out. So what I like is taking the, I think the tiny little Torx screwdriver and just sticking it in there and carefully prying up. Let me rotate that. Just carefully prying up. It'll raise and that cable can be removed. We can come over and flip it all the way over. Now here is the hard drive that we're going to replace. These all die, and you know, that's that for them. And it is attached by a tiny little ZIF cable right down here. I don't remember if these lift up or not. But you can just flip it forward, and I don't think that it does. And very carefully, oh, I hope I didn't, oh, okay. Actually, I'm going to, yeah, remove it from the board. Really don't want to break the cable. They're pretty fragile and delicate, and if you break them, you know, a replacement is probably going to be a pain to find. I don't, okay, yeah. And there is a little latch on the hard drive, so there it's locked, and if you push it down, is it down or is it up? I think you pop it up. Yeah. Okay. You pop the latch up to be able to remove the cable. And there's another latch down there. So at this point, we don't need to remove this cable. I mean, you can, but then they can be kind of difficult to get back in. There's the two little pieces. The larger one goes where there's not the connector, just over and in like that, and the smaller one goes right there. And I pulled the little hold down tab off, which I hope is not going to be a problem. So the next step is going to be to remove the battery. And they're taped down, and there is a second little cable running by, which we do not want to cause any damage to. Removing the battery, it's glued down. I'm going to try using one of the guitar pick shape pieces. And you just want to be gentle. You don't want to puncture a lithium-ion battery. That'll be bad. Burst into flames or something like that. So just careful not putting too much pressure, and be mindful of the small little cables. Don't want to damage any of them. And this is just kind of a pain. Gotta try to break the adhesive that was used to hold the battery in place without causing excessive damage to anything. So this is probably the most difficult part of the entire process, and mainly just because it is extremely annoying to get out. One of the spudgers that are long are going to be helpful to just kind of shove it in there. Doing it with these things, I mean, it's already cracked. This one's already cracked, so basically you get one use out of those. They'll open up one iPod, but I don't know. It's to be expected for basically $2. And they really use some great double-sided tape to keep everything in place. And interestingly, I think the 60 and 80 gigabyte versions, the drives had 2 platters as opposed to 1, so they're actually thicker. And with those versions, you can use higher capacity batteries that will basically go, and fill up the entire back case. So, and okay. And that's done. So that wasn't super annoying or anything. There's some of the adhesive left, and I don't think I damaged the cable at all. Yeah, definitely pretty annoying. So here is the battery, and it should just fit into place. Have to push it down a little bit. The cheap Chinese batteries are cheap, but it's pretty much the only option for a replacement. So that's in place. Very, very happy about that. But both of these, just to check them out, the one I already converted, I used the microSD, and this is all to them. There's a place to put a foam pad there, and here, you can see how the controller for the cards are different because the SD cards just are larger. They take up more space. It's also why I like the microSD ones a little better, but I thought it'd be interesting to see both of them. So that pops open, and I can put the connector in, which I'm pretty sure goes the pins down, and get it seated into place. Now that doesn't seem right because that's clipping the side. So it's got to go pins up, otherwise there wouldn't be clearance. And just gently push it into place through a little click click. Close that. That's held into place. There's a foam pad that will put some pressure on the back of the iPod so it won't slip around or come out of out of place, and now I have to struggle to open microSD cards. So there's one of them. There's the second. You know, I was hoping this process would go quite a bit more smoothly. Excellent. So there's the second card, and the slots are numbered. You can stick any SD card in, but I'm pretty sure it needs to go 1, 2, 3, 4 in terms of filling them up. Slide them into place. Got a pretty nice friction fit, and just the contacts facing down. You can kind of see the contacts through the little holes that are there. Slide them. They're both into place now. And now it's time to install this, which means you got to get the connector back down here into place. So that, just pull that up. And then we gotta slide it in, which is kind of annoying. And I think I got it positioned. Snap it down. You can see the one white line is showing, and I'm not sure if that is totally lined up. So rather than having to disassemble it again, these tools are so bad. I'm going to try again to really guarantee that I have a good fit. Well, we'll see. That should be good enough. And then slide this into place. Has to go around this little piece right here. Then with the micro SD one, comes with a little foam pad. And because there's a huge gap here, I mean, it's smaller than the hard drive used to be, and the hard drive has some foam on it also. Just take the foam pad, and I'm going to stick it right on top of the microcontroller that's in there. And this will put pressure from the back down onto the board, so it won't wobble out of place or anything, and that up there should also keep it from doing anything wrong. So we're going to want to pull that up, and then last thing to do is to get the ribbon cable slotted into there, and then push down on the little thing to lock it into place so the battery doesn't come loose or anything like that. I'm not sure how well that's going to be able to be seen. Let's go through, and that got pushed down, so I need to pop it back up. And just kind of annoying, fairly tedious to do. And I hope I didn't break that little... Oh, I totally broke the little piece. Well, that's no good. No good at all. Well, it's way easier to thread it in without that around, but now I have to worry about it staying in place. So what I'm going to do is just glue it into place. So it's seated in there. I'll come back. Push that little piece in. And will that... Actually, it doesn't need the side little leg. I think it'll stay in place. The other option is to super glue it, but good enough for me. I mean, I know how to take it apart and fix whatever's wrong with it should I run into a problem. I don't know what that little rubber piece does. I'm going to put it back into place. Now before, you can go ahead and push down and everything will just snap closed. The little tabs on the side will fall into place. I'm going to see if, and see, it turns on and it says connect to your computer, use iTunes to restore. I don't know how well that's showing up because of the lighting. But everything's fine. It turns on, so we know the battery works, and we've got it plugged in. So I believe that the drive should be working. And then just snap it closed, and there it is. And now we'll go install Rockbox on it. Here are some screenshots of the restore process in iTunes. You need to do this before you can install Rockbox. I had this installed on a laptop without screen capture, so I just grabbed some screenshots to go through. You plug in the iPod, click the iPod button that shows up, and then just restore iPod. Question comes up, are you sure you want to do this? Because it'll erase the data, but of course the data is already gone. Go through, it gives the version information, next, agree to the license, and then it starts to download the software update. You can see the status bar up at the top. Then it restores the iPod, and iPod's restored to factory settings. At that point, you can disconnect it and close down iTunes, and then you're ready to install Rockbox. Now that the iPod is restored, you're going to want to go to rockbox.org, go over to the left, go to release, and download the installer. I've already done that. You can see it over on the right. The other thing is the manual is really good for the iPod 5th generation classic, also known as the iPod video. So here they have it under our iPod video. Go to the online manual. It's really nice manual, lots of documentation. And you can go through and see all of the installation steps. It's really not that difficult. So my iPod is going to run the Rockbox utility, and it comes up, it identifies the device. If you have to go through, you can change an iPod video 5th gen, the stable release right there. I think this might have been saved when the first time I did it, and it's at the correct mounting point, my G drive on my computer, and then just go through, and there are different settings. I did not do any of this. I don't think that it's necessary. So I just left everything as it is and hit install, and that's pretty much it. We'll see it go, and you know, there's the progress bars speeding along. Nothing looks different on the iPod. Extracting some files. and just wait. It's really not any different than restoring it through iTunes, except, you know, you have to have iTunes, and I just don't like that program at all. I don't know if it's better nowadays, but, you know, back in the day, it was just terrible. So it's doing its thing. We haven't ran into any errors. I don't think you should. And that's it. Package installation finished successfully. Hit OK and close that. And go over, and there's the Rockbox install. Calendar, contacts. We want to leave the iPod controls alone. Notes. And then what's really nice is you no longer have to use iTunes. So what I like to do, create a new folder, label it as music, and that will allow you to just drag and drop whatever you want onto the iPod, and then you can go into Rockbox and set up a database, and all the music will just show up. And if you have your tags correct, you know, everything should just work flawlessly. So here it is with Rockbox installed, and it's started up, and this is the screen you'll see. If we go into files, you can see the music folder that I made, and there's nothing in there. So, and there's the database that you can browse through. I don't have anything loaded up on this one, so if you go to the other iPod that I converted and go to the database, it'll show artists and all the standard tags and things like that that you would think that you could browse through. But the one problem is that my database didn't seem to automatically update even though I had it on. So go to settings, general settings, down to the database, and there's auto update. I have that turned on, but that still didn't work. I'm not sure if I was supposed to load stuff on it through Rockbox or whatever, but if you just go to the update now, that solved the only problem I've encountered using Rockbox. Well, I mean, if you made it this far, hopefully you've got an iPod that has Rockbox installed on it and is working. You know, I suppose you could have left the iPod software on there, but not a huge fan. I would like to eventually do one of the larger capacity batteries. I know that there's also a hack where you can bypass the DAC and get you know, better output from the iPod. So might get around to that. I don't know about that one, but if I do, there'll be links or whatever around. So hope this worked. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, leave them below and I'll try to answer them and potentially make a little bit better and smoother video where nothing gets broken going through the process again.